Minister, at the time when the CRSS legislation went through, I argued as forcefully as I could that it was unfair that people who didn't have a premises where their premises might be, for example, their taxi or their van or where their livelihood involved overheads in terms of loans or rents on premises that weren't public-facing, such as musicians and people who work in the arts, and many others who just operate their small business, and those businesses and employments have been absolutely devastated, far more for most of them, particularly when you talk about the taxi drivers or the musicians, but many others as well, far more than the 25% threshold that allows businesses that do have a premises to get a public-facing premises to get the CRSS, because their livelihoods, you only have to go out in the streets to see the situation for taxi drivers at the moment, their ability to earn income is down 70–80%. They have car repayments they have to make, they have insurance costs and other ongoing overheads, and they are excluded. There's just no justice to this. It's completely unfair. They need the help. And I might just say, in terms of the taxi drivers, the vast majority of them have also been excluded from the €1,000 restart grant, because you have to sign off the PUP in order to get that grant. Now, I mean, you can't sign off the PUP at the moment with any hope of earning anything even a fraction of what you would normally earn, for the very obvious reasons that you know, people are not out in the street because of the COVID restrictions, and rightly so. But why are they excluded? Because they still have to carry those costs, and similarly with people in music and the arts, it is completely unfair. And it is precisely, it seems, some of the people who've been worst hit. I mean, in the case of the musicians and the artists, they have been shut down completely since the beginning of the pandemic, and yet many of them are excluded from these schemes. It's not fair, Minister. So obviously I support Deputy Doherty's amendment, but these points were put to you forcefully during the last, when the legislation was pushed through, and I just don't know why you're ignoring them. It is completely unfair. I should say also on the taxi drivers that the electric vehicle grant is also being very limited in who's available. Your car has had to reach its 10-year expiry date in order to access it, which means the vast majority of taxi drivers will also be excluded from that grant. So at every level, taxi drivers are being denied the sort of supports simply because their car is their premises and their means of business, even though they have been worse hit than many of those who actually are availing of it, and rightly getting it. But I don't see why you wouldn't extend it to taxi drivers, and I do not see why you would not extend it to musicians, people in events-related areas, the arts and so on, and I really would appeal to you to do so. I also just want to say in passing that I think some of the support that's given out to bigger businesses and the willingness of the government to do it contrasts sharply also with the way you treat PAYE workers who are now going to receive tax bills, even though the scheme on the wage subsidy scheme limited the amount which employers could top up their pay to the net amount. So that limit that you put on the wage subsidy scheme means that they take a pay cut and then they're going to be taxed subsequently on it, which is completely unfair. And very finally, I would just say I would say, Minister, a word about the wealth that dare not speak its name. Oxfam did a report this week showing that Ireland's billionaires increased their wealth by €3.3 billion. Rather than exclude people from schemes who really need support, could we not impose a little bit of taxes on the billionaires who've actually done well out of COVID in order to assist some of those workers and sectors who've been absolutely hammered by the public health restrictions?
Thank you very much.